What?
Hey, let's see how this works out. Doing an experiment, trying a higher quality video-y thing. Fingers crossed. So this is Tuesday, February 25th. Let's see, tomorrow book report comes due. Tonight you stay up crying. Camp to come some money for Miss Slip are due in, I don't know, some number of days. Julian Center, you can donate things to help out people and you get B points. You can also donate dollars to get B points. And if you are choosing to do the We the People thing, that app is due coming up on Friday. If you have lost these two pieces of paper, either your blue sheet, which is this one, or the yellow sheet, which is this one, you can get both of those on my website and print off. These sounds you're hearing in the background are the sounds of a child that just exploded. On my website, again, to remind you, I have pictures of all the posters that are around my room, and you are more than welcome to go and go clicky on those. Unlike the kids right now who have their iPads open, who are going clicky away with their points, being as that's the fact that we're trying to, learn and stuff like that, which is overrated. And then more pictures and posters. But you guys are here live right now, so you don't have to use my website because you get to just look around the room. But those of you who are at home, when I point in a moment, you can go clicky on yourself. Speed version up here. Jovial came from what god?
Zeus.
What was his Roman name?
Jupiter.
Not Jupiter.
Jovial.
Jove. Jupiter was his other name. And it means what?
Happy on top of the world.
And cereal comes from?
Demeter.
Demeter, whose Roman name was?
Ceres.
Now, wait till you hear the question before you guys start yelling answers at me. What was Demeter the god of?
Grains.
Nicely done. So what does cereal mean?
Wheat and
Grain.
So, if it helps, yelling the same word over and over again does not help. I'm not a foreigner that does not understand English where you just yell at me louder hoping I understand it. It was wrong the first 12 times you yelled at me. You forgot a very important word. You guys got the word. You guys kept yelling sugar and grain and sugar and then grain and then sugar, but you forgot the most important thing. It's food. That was the part. Yeah. But you didn't say it.
I said food from grain.
You didn't. You just kept yelling grain, and grain.
You said food from grain.
But you must have said it quietly.
I said sugar.
What's important is what word did you yell 12 times?
Grain.
Almost there. Volcano. As much fun as making fun of children. What is his Greek name?
Vulcan.
Hephaestus. His Roman name?
Vulcan.
There you go. And
Mountain of Fire.
once again, wait till you hear the question. What was he the god of?
Forgery.
Cripples and forging. Nicely done. Where was it thought he lived?
Mountains.
In a mountain. We are struggling. It's like you go over this and beat it into us and we just need to keep getting beat. I will continue to beat you until we're done. And then from there, and then when he was working in mountain, eventually it would build up all this energy. Eventually that energy would explode. And what would you call that? Nicely done. Mrs. Brown, I'm going to be giving this to young Brayden, and then he's going to give it back to you at the end of class. This way you can write the things in there now. Look at that.
That's pretty smart.
I know, I do it sometimes.
I know.
Mercurial comes from
Hermes.
Nicely done. His Roman name?
Mercury.
Nicely done. What was he the god of?
Able to change quickly.
Once
Fast
again,
change.
These merchants and
Able to
Okay.
change
merchants and
death.
I have to make fun of kids again. Wait till you hear the question before you yell answers at me. Because I forgive you, making me sass a child. So what was he the god of?
These merchants and messaging.
Nicely done. Works for me. Then, what does mercurial mean?
Able to change quickly.
What was the name of the stick he carried?
Caduceus staff.
Did not really expect you to remember that. Kind of impressed. I'll give you one of those. Just a little. Don't let it go to your head. What did the staff do?
Heal people.
Because what was one of his jobs he had to do?
Take people to the underworld.
See, that time worked out well. Taking people down to the underworld. Fatal comes from?
The face.
How many were there?
3.
Ooh, I'll hang up. There we go. The first sister's name was?
Clotho.
Clotho.
And her job was?
To
Second woman's name?
Jesus.
Her job?
In charge of the
Treasured.
Third one?
A tropo.
Not bad. Her
In
job?
charge of the cutting.
Control it.
Cutting string.
That was a fun game to play. And then, let's see, they controlled the string of all the humans, did that one. And then if you're in an accident and your string is up, we say it's a fatal accident. What has happened to you? Nice. You are all deathy. Iris comes from what god?
Iris.
Good job.
Wait, what?
Ooh. When she came down to Earth, how would we know?
Rainbow.
What was her main job for the gods?
Messenger of
Messenger of God.
No, that's... Which god was the river?
The river god.
Nicely done. That was Flexworthy. Nicely done. Styx was the river god. Iris was the other. And then, Iris, there's two things an iris is, which would be?
And flower.
Color part of the eye, and then the flower. And then we get down to... And then music and museum comes from?
Muse.
Nicely done. How many muses were there?
9, 6, 7, 8,
9. Again, not a thing I'm going to make you know. I was just seeing if it was in your brains. And apparently numbers were, and you just had to shake them around like a dice to get the right one. And what were the muses in control of?
Art, music,
That's more what I care about. Just knowing what they were. The reason we had to have muses in control of art, what were humans made out of?
clay.
And we're going to get to that, the fact that we're made out of mud people. So music is not sound created by humans. Music is sound created by the muses.
Wait, does that mean I have a
A museum, not stuff created by humans, but created by the muses.
They thought that they were going
June comes from
Hera.
Hera, because what is her Roman name? Close. Juno. Nicely done. What is she? The 3 things she's in control of? Marriage. Childbirth.
In the summer. Wait, isn't it the one that tried to
killing Zeus's children. That's
Wait, you screwed me up.
Hang on, we're getting there almost. Marriage, childbirth, and being married to Zeus.
Yeah.
Don't forget how sexist Greekism is. So the fact that was the main thing was the fact that she got married to a man. Like, oh, that's every girl's dream. And so that was basically the main thing that she had going for her. And then because of that, why is June connected to her?
Because that's where most of the people get married.
Go, Caleb. Yeah. Now, Jada, what's up?
Okay, so,
Good stuff. Allie, what's up?
Which one's the one that killed kids?
That would be Hera.
Hera, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you were correct.
Hera's weird.
Jada, try again.
She's like you,
about muses, like that green guy from Ghostbusters. That's what people usually think.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. You leave me a little slime in there? Yes, Elijah.
So like when they had children back in like Greece thing.
Yeah.
Like, did they think that their children were made of clay first?
No, they thought that our ancestors were. And so it goes back to like the original, like their Adam and Eve version. Instead of like being created by God, they were created from mud. And so your ancestors are mud people.
Then who
We'll get
created
there.
them
Yeah,
from
stop
mud?
trying to apply logic. We'll get there soon.
Hera.
And back to mind. Our next one we get to our story. So
Athena.
why Athena?
Because she's
It's
the
Athena.
wisdom, god of wisdom.
Because it says on my
and
paper.
god of war. And,
What is her Roman name, kids who like to yell at me?
Oh,
I forget it's on the paper right in front of you, which is why the teacher man is asking.
Oh, my bad. I can't find it.
If it helps, it's alphabetical.
Mine-
Under A.
Minerva.
Minerva. Yeah, Minerva.
So her Roman name is Minerva. Minerva.
That's like Minerva.
Athena, a girl over there, which is the girl attacking a horse. Also the one that's over here, who has the shield with the Medusa's head on it, because she's connected to that story. One over here with the owl. She's the god of a couple different things in Greek mythology. One of the big things she's the god of would be war.
strategy war.
A strategic war. Another one would be wisdom. And then it turns out she's also the god of weaving, which is apparently a really important thing back in the day. So weaving like big portraits and stuff like that with the strings. We'll get into that thing coming up. But so basically, war, wisdom, weaving, and the letter W she was very fond of for some reason. And yes, there are 2 gods of war. The other god of war being
Ares.
the guy that's right over there. And in Greek mythology, Ares was the god of I don't care how I win war as long as I win.
Why does he
So
have a dog?
throwing dirt in someone's face and like punching them and stuff like that.
That sounds like me.
Whereas Athena was the strategic war where you're going to try to use strategy, think your way through. Don't staple it yet. You'll wait till the very end. Bring it back up to me and that's when I'm going to take it from you. All
Mr.
right.
Broviak, why does he have a
AJ?
dog?
Wait, does Athena's like Medusa work like Medusa?
Well, it's because it's Medusa.
Yeah.
Not the shield. It's just the symbol on there to remind you of the story.
there's like a snake.
Gavin.
So wasn't there like that one story where Athena like beat someone and then weaving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, how am I going to answer this?
It was just
We'll get to that later.
Elijah,
Why did you?
how am I going to answer that?
What? I didn't hear what he said. I
He was talking about Ares, what's on the Ares poster.
He likes dogs.
We'll get to that. So now back to Athena.
I can ask
So with Athena, she is the god of wisdom, but there is a reason why she is the god of wisdom, which leads us to a story for today.
Yay!
So now we have to go back in time, in Greek mythology, to a guy by the name of Zeus.
I knew it.
At this point, Zeus has a wife by the name of Hera, but he also is very friendly, and he decides to go out and start making some friends. One of the girls that he becomes friends with is a girl by the name of Mincynine, and Mincynine is the god of memory. She is another titan, and he and Mincynine hang out, have a good time, are friendly over a course of time. Till one day Mincynine comes up to Zeus and she's like, "Hey Zeus," and he's like, "Hey Mincynine, what's up?" She's like, "I've got good news." And he goes, "What's your good news?" And she goes, "Turns out I'm pregnant." And he goes, "Oh, what's the good news?" And she said, "What?" And he goes, "Ha ha ha, just kidding." Because he realized this is not going to go well for him, because now there is evidence of his friendliness. And he does not want to have evidence of his friendliness. So he decides the best way to solve this problem is to make Mincynine disappear. So he decides to get rid of Mincynine. The problem with that's going to be she's a titan, meaning that she's basically immortal. So just killing her is not going to work because she's not going to die. So he has to get creative with his problem solving. So he spends a couple days thinking about how he's going to solve this problem, because he knows if she gives birth, then it's going to come back, and then Hera's going to have to kill him or attack and make his life awful. And he's one Hera. She was like, how about she just goes away? But she's not going to go away. He comes up with an idea. So Zeus goes up to Mincynine the next day and he goes, "Mincynine, I would like to celebrate the fact that you are pregnant." She's like, "Ooh, I love that. What are we going to do?" He goes, "Let's have a picnic." And she goes, "Ooh, I love a picnic." He goes, "I'll pack one up." So he packs a little picnic with some orange juice and some sandwiches and some apples and stuff like that. And they pack a little picnic up and he goes, "Let's go for a picnic." And he takes her on a picnic. And he goes deep, deep into these woods. And she goes like, "Why are we going so deep into these creepy woods?" He goes, "We want to go deep into these creepy woods so that we can be alone and people can't find us and bother us." And she's like, "Oh, that's so romantic." And he's like, "Yeah, romantic." And so he takes her deep, deep into these woods, and they have their little picnic, and he unfolds it. They have their orange juice and their sandwiches and their apples, and they get done. They're relaxing on a little blanket, looking up at the trees all around them. And she goes, "This was nice. What are we going to do next?" And he goes, "I thought we'd play a game." And she goes, "Ooh, a game?" He goes, "Yeah, a game. Here's the game I want to play." She goes, "What is it?" He goes, "We're going to play a game called Who Can Turn into the Smallest Animal." And she goes, "Ooh, that sounds like a fun game. It's almost as much fun as the game called Why Does That Kid Not Have the Blue Paper on Her Desk, Losing Points."
Oh, no, Mr. Roby, don't do it. You have 5 seconds.
It's not even in this folder.
So we'll give you a second to try and figure out how that game is played. So he goes, "We're going to say who can turn into the smallest creature." So in Greek mythology, they believe that every god had the ability to shape change. They could turn into a human, and they could turn into any kind of animal that they wanted to. It was just a thing that they could do. So he goes, "Here's what we're going to do. Let's shape change and see who can turn into the smallest creature." She's like, "Oh, that sounds like fun." He goes, "I'll go first, and I'll start off easy." He's like, and he turns into like a gigantic elephant. And she's like, "Oh, that's easy." She's like, and she goes into a hippopotamus. He's like, and goes into a moose. And they keep going back and forth and like giggling and going smaller and smaller until eventually it becomes like a deer, and then like a dog, and then into a cat, and then down to a mouse. And they're giggling and having a good time. And Zeus is like, "This is the greatest game ever." And eventually he goes all the way down to the size of a fly and buzzes around her. He's like, "Fly, fly, 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 fly." He's like, "I think I've won. There's no way you can beat me." And she's like, I can beat that. Watch this. And she goes, zink, and turns into a gnat, going even smaller than his fly. And he goes back into his human form. Whoop. And she goes flying around him, and she's like, do you give up? I've become the smallest. I'm pretty sure I'm the winner. He goes, I've got something. And she goes, biz, what? And he goes, this. Grabs her out of the air, takes her, and goes, hoop, and swallows her, thus trapping her inside of his stomach. And apparently, in Greek mythology, once you are swallowed, you cannot escape again. This way, he knows where she is. She has no way of giving birth, no way of revealing him, and he has no mess left over, no body. He's like, I'm a genius, and she is gone. He packs up the picnic, heads back home, and everything is good. People ask about Mincing, and he's like, I don't know. I guess she just ran away. Women! And everyone just forgets about it and moves on. And this continues for years. She's just gone. No one knows what happened. Hera has no suspicion at all. Zeus eventually becomes king of all the gods. Things are going well. He's leading. Hundreds of years go by. And then one day, Zeus is walking through Mount Olympus and gets a horrible headache, just pounding on the front of his brain. It feels like something's just like hitting him right there in the skull. And he's like staggering around on Mount Olympus, like knocking over chairs. He's like, my brain hurts! And goes and talks to their gods. And he's like, can someone help me? I was like, I need someone to give me Tylenol. And they're like, we've not invented that yet. And he's like, and like flips over a table. And he's like, well, how am I supposed to get rid of my headache? And one of the gods goes, hey, your son Hephaestus, rumor is he has an experimental way to get rid of head pain. But it's not proven, and it's very experimental. The Zeus is like, I don't care, my brain hurts so much, I'll take whatever it is. So he goes and finds his son Hephaestus. And he finds Hephaestus out in one of his mountains, and he's like, Hephaestus, he's like, I've heard that you have a way of solving head problems, and my head's killing me. Can you help me out? Now, we're going to find out that Hephaestus is a little bitter towards Zeus, because Zeus is contributing to him being crippled and getting kicked out of Mount Olympus. So Hephaestus has some anger issues towards his father. But Hephaestus is still a nice guy. So he goes, yeah, I've got a way. I've not tested a whole lot yet. It's kind of experimental, but I'm welcome to try it with you. And Zeus is like, well, what is it? And Hephaestus goes, all right, let me explain it to you. And he pulls out a giant axe, big blade on the end of it. And Zeus goes, that's an axe. And Hephaestus goes, yes, it is. Here's how it works. I'm going to need you to come over here to this chair. And I need you to lean your head all the way over the chair so your head's out there. And Zeus goes, He goes, and then I'm gonna step over here with the axe, and I come running at you, and I swing the axe into the top of your head. And when it gets lodged in there, I wiggle it back and forth to open up the top of your head. And Zeus goes, And he goes, and I stick my hand inside of your head, and I reach around to try and figure out what's giving you a headache, and I pull it out. And Zeus goes, so you're going to chop me in the head with an axe, and then reach your hand inside my head to pull out whatever's in there. And Hephaestus goes, yeah, that's the experiment I'm having. And Zeus goes, that's genius, okay. And he goes like, Hephaestus like, okay. He's like, can you lean over? And he's like, yeah, like this. And Hephaestus like, yeah, like that, put your head right out there. And Hephaestus is like, this is probably going to hurt you more than me. And Zeus is like, what? He's like, nothing! Whack! And brings the axe right into the top of Zeus's head.
That's how she was born.
Whack! And it goes back and forth, rink it, and then finally opens up a giant hole in the top of Zeus's head. Zeus comes over, he's like, can you find anything in the top of my head? And Hephaestus is like, yeah, and sticks his hand in the top of Zeus's head and starts like feeling around and like squeezing things, and like squeezes part of Zeus's brain, and he's like, rah! There's like leg kicks, and he's like, oh, wrong part. And then all of a sudden, Hephaestus pulls his hand back out. He's like, I think I have, and in his hand, he's holding a squirming thing and throws it on the ground. When it hits the ground, it's a person about yay big, hits the ground, and then starts to grow in front of him. And Zeus is like, it's a brain baby! And shakes his head back and forth. And his head closes back up because gods have the ability to heal. He's like, like cartoons. And it closes back up. And they look down, and there is a woman in full armor with a sword and a shield standing in front of him. And Hephaestus is like, that came out of your head. And Zeus is like, I gave birth to a brain baby. And they both look at this person, and Zeus goes, who are you? She goes, my name is Athena. My mother was Mincini, and I have been inside of you all of this time. And it turns out Athena was born inside of Zeus's system and then flowed around until she got to his brain. And when she got to his brain, she set up a forge, the same thing that Hephaestus has, and she built a forge on Zeus's brain and made all of her own armor while she was there. So because she created a forge on his brain, she becomes one of the 2 gods of war. Because she was born from Zeus's brain, she becomes the god of wisdom. And that is how Athena was born in Greek mythology. And that is why the mind is connected to Minerva, because the M-I-N comes from her name. So a mind is your thinker. Gavin?
So couldn't just like Minerva shape shift into like something big and just make Zeus explode?
Feels like you're trying to apply logic.
Yes.
Yeah, that would do you to go here.
Alright.
AJ?
Wait.
How'd she
How
give
did
birth when she was
Mincini?
Mincini?
Yeah. When she was a fly, when she went in his system, how did she give
Are you trying to apply logic?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's not complicated.
Again,
I
every
don't
time
like
you try to apply logic,
One thing
put the
you
logic
have
in
to
your
do.
hand and go, hi, logic, what's up? And just throw it away. That's the joy of Greek mythology.
I do not like it.
Next
Wait,
yeah, those of you who like concrete things, it's going to be all over the place. Don't worry, it gets a lot worse tomorrow. March! Our last word, and then we get to our fun stuff.
Yay.
It's my birthday.
Fun.
Allie, where's March come from? Then you have to wait, Allie. I know learning comes first. Yes, Anjo?
Aries?
Why Aries? Wait, did you ask me?
Wait, Aries.
Why do you say Aries?
Because I forget. I think his Roman name has something to
If
do.
only there was a paper in front of you.
Mars?
You could look up things.
Yeah, Mars. Yes.
It is correct. Well done. Ares, whose Roman name was Mars, was the god of war. He is the one that's right up there, who was the god of war, which is why he has a dog, because it was called the dogs of war. And oftentimes in battles, they would send dogs out to go attack people before they would stab each other. The other thing, that's a vulture, because dead people. And so Ares was, in Greek mythology, was not a good person. He was considered one of the most attractive gods. They were all good looking, like they were all Hollywood stars, but he was like the good looking of the Hollywood stars. But he was also a horrible person and a gigantic wussy. It was wussy. Stories of him coming down to Earth, going into human form, getting in a fight with a human, getting beat up, and then going back up to Mount Olympus and crying. There are multiple stories of him crying on Mount Olympus because he would get beat up. Because again, he was not tough, he was a bully. He was all about beating people and don't care. He'd throw dirt in your face, kick you in the shin, hit you with a chair, stuff like that. As long as he won, that was all he cared. Now, march, there are 2 definitions of march. One definition is going to be the war walk that you do, like marching off into battle. And that was called the Mars walk. Because when you were doing it, you were going off to honor the god of war. So you were called Marsing, and eventually that became marching. The other one is the month that's coming up, and the reason that's named after him is because the weather is so chaotic. During this time of year, it's where all of a sudden you have like snow, and then a hot day, and then rain, and then freezing cold. And so in Greek mythology, it was the same temperatures over there. So they assumed this time of year the gods were fighting each other, and so they considered it the time of Mars. So they called this time of year Mars because the gods fought each other. Thus, the weather was so chaotic. Eventually, it became just known as March, which gets connected back to him. Many of our months get connected to either Greek mythology or Norse mythology or Egyptian mythology, and there's connections between all of those. Addie?
How about our days, like Monday?
Those are mostly connected to Norse mythology. Norse mythology is Thor from Marvel. That's Norse. From Scandinavia, that's
Like
a
Thor's
whole other mythology. And so, yeah, those days get connected there.
Mythology.
Yes.
Mythology.
So on there, like Green Lantern one.
Hang on.
You like that, Hortman?
You, hey, yell at her later. Moving on. Go ahead.
On there, Aries, the one in the blue
Right there.
stuff, and then Hercules is the one. Yeah, I thought that was Aries.
Nope. Yeah. Different ones.
I thought Aries was a girl.
Allie!
I was thinking
I don't remember her name is, but
And when we were talking about Athena, like,
Yes, Mincinin
where's the mom at? Where'd she go?
disappeared also. She's never seen again in Greek mythology. On that one, sexism. Yay! I don't know what you want me to tell you.
He probably jumped. He took.
Wait, logic.
But she activated his brain and she did something.
You take
She
away
probably
logic
died in
from
the
Anjo.
So there's something
Wait,
called
wasn't it like
hand
Greeks
that I
like worshipped Athena more and like because they use more strategy and Romans worship like Ares more?
It went back. It was more individuals as opposed to culture, from what I
But she
understand.
was a baby when she
Gavin!
came out of his head. So
How
how
did
did
she
she make
plan
a
it?
fork?
What?
What about the planet?
Because she's smart.